Meanwhile, Chelsea beating West Ham 1-0. It was a game that you were wrapped on, a kind of typical Chelsea performance.
Yeah, they were very good for probably half an hour, and then second half, West Ham were the better side. They could have scored more. Chelsea. It wasn't Chelsea being dominant. It was I think it was quite a sort of a little bit of a laboured performance, a professional performance, knowing they've got Real Madrid in the Champions League. So he made lots of changes. Thomas Tuchel, he made 5 changes. The bench was ridiculously strong today, so he could have made more. And West Ham were just lacking that front man. Tammy Abraham came on late for Chelsea, and he's exactly the type of player West Ham need. West Ham, I think, had a team talk at half-time for David Moyes because they respected Chelsea too much. They allowed them possession. They sat really deep. They tried to play on the counter. And half-time, they got a team talk. And second half, they come out, played with more intent. Their possession was better. The tempo of the game was better. They were trying to hurt Chelsea. And then towards the end of the game, Balbuena got sent off, which in my opinion was never, ever a red card. But on the face of it, Chelsea just about deserved all 3.
Big statement from Chelsea with this win, Stevie.
Yeah, I mean, you said it earlier, Dan. It was a typical Chelsea performance. They did start brightly, as Don said, and West Ham pretty much couldn't get out their own half for half an hour. But this Chelsea side's really strange. It always, at the end of every game, they always leave you wanting more. You always think there's a lot more there. There's a lot more goals in that side. And again today, at the end, yes, I think they deserved it, to be honest, for the first half performance. I was completely disappointed in West Ham. I couldn't believe what I was watching for 45 minutes. Yes, they come out with a little bit more endeavour in the second half, but they never looked like scoring. And Chelsea probably felt that. They probably felt, you know what, let's not make any mistakes because this lot ain't breaking us down. So, again, that's why probably they left me wanting a little bit more. But it's a great result for Chelsea, a huge result against the real rival for that 4th spot.
Stevie, Don mentioned it. Did you think it was a red card?
Here's the thing, Dan. When Don and I were playing, that was called getting done. And it was accepted in the game by both players and referees. It was called, somebody either did you, and that would be a case. If it was you, if it was the other way around, you did somebody else. You're not getting away with that in today's game. Certainly not with VAR. You know, when it's slowed down, it looks even worse than it probably is. But there's no question. There was a little bit of malice in it. You don't throw he threw his whole body behind that. He knew exactly what he was doing. But as I said, in my day, in Don's day, that's not even a foul. Today, it's a red card. Referees are going to give red cards for that every single time. And what they'll tell you is you're endangering your opponent. And you can't argue with that.
Don?
It's funny that Stevie mentions malice because that was the word I used in commentary. I thought there was no malice whatsoever from Balbuena. I thought it was a natural follow-through. I looked at his facial expressions. It's not like he went to do him. When you kick the ball, there's always going to be a follow-through. It looks really ugly in slow motion, and I think that's where Chris Kavanagh, the referee, got sucked in.
Sure.
We were listening. No, it's Stevie. We were listening to VAR, and the VAR instructed the referee to go and have a look. And then once he went over to have a look, and all he got was slow motion and the freeze frame. It looks terrible in a freeze frame. But show me any footballer that naturally kicks a ball. When you biomechanically kick a ball, there's always going to be a follow through. The fact that he caught Chilwell, I thought was irrelevant. Right. I didn't see any malice whatsoever.
Right. But Don, you know as well as I do, when you're going to do somebody like that, it's your whole body that goes. You don't plant your left. His left foot wasn't planted. Watch where his left foot lands past his right foot. That tells you that he knows exactly what he's doing. He's not planted his left foot and just followed through and landed on top of Chilwell. His whole body has gone through. That's what tells me there's malice in it. But again, listen, it's the way the game's going to be ruled today. It's going to be refereed. Whether you or I think it is or it isn't, the referees are going to give that every single time because, as I said, they'll say it's negligence towards your opponent.
Stevie, should they get rid of slow motion replays for VAR in this situation?
Well, that's a bit daft, isn't it? I mean, Listen, the reason why referees can't make decisions is because the pace of the game. So if you don't use slow motion, even though you look at it again, you might miss something. No, it's unfortunate. There's no other way of doing it. It's just a fact that when you slow it down, it always looks worse.
Yeah, and that's why I asked the question, Don.
They've got to show it in real time because that's actually what happens in real time. Got to. You can't slow motion and then freeze frame because I tell you what happened late on in the game. Sofal, the right back, had a ball at right back, and Rudiger ran straight out of his position as a centre half. He closed him down, and Sofal played a ball down the line, and he kicked Rudiger in the exact same motion as Balbuena done. And we're all standing there in commentary, ex-pros around me going, exactly the same thing, exactly the same follow through.
Go on, Stevie.
Well, two wrongs don't make a right. Just because he doesn't say that they don't do the same thing doesn't do anything. Yes, what you just said there is absolutely right. It absolutely looked the same, but it wasn't. There wasn't the same. I don't think there was the malice in it. And again, that's what you need when you've got somebody looking at a freeze frame or the slow motion. They have to try and figure out if there is malice in it. Because if there's no malice in it, then there's no reason to send somebody off. That's the difference. But you need somebody who can look at that and explain it to us the way I just did to you earlier about how his whole body's left the floor and he's thrown him at him. Because Don, you know fine well that's how we did people back in the day. But if you've got a guy that can see that and understand that, then we'll have a better decision.
I don't see it. I don't see it as a red.
David Moyes would have had no problem whatsoever if he had gotten a yellow card at Balbuena. He wouldn't have had a problem with it at all.
Yeah, but a yellow card's just saying, well, it was a foul, and it was a little bit more than a foul, but it's not a red.
I think we're going
right,
around.
And the red card tells you there's malice in it, and you're endangering your opponent, and that's why the referee sent him off.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.